Just of me and my men here.
Okay, can you, I think, Ollie, is that good? Yeah. Okay, go. Go. Hi, I'm Hal Wilkes here, and I'm interviewing
Christian Long.
about what he's doing at the Festival of Education. So what are you doing here?
I have been invited to be a speaker and had the opportunity to speak in Auckland and then again in Christchurch last week. And then just came here to Wellington a couple days ago to be part of the final part of the festival.
Okay, cool. So what are you going to speak about?
Yeah, I've got to figure that out, right? So here's what I'm curious about. I'm really, really curious that if we could think about what it means to go to school as a designer. And what I mean by that is if I could really, really care about what it's like for you to learn, then how could I create everything around you that helps you do that? So the chair that you're sitting in, I care about that. Because if you're comfortable or can move it easily, or if you're attracted to it because you're like, that's the one I want to sit in, then when you're in that chair, you're maybe more likely to be comfortable, to focus, and to do the work you want. But maybe 10 minutes from now, you need to stand or be in a completely different chair. So I want to think about what you have access to. So we're going to talk a little bit about architecture and furniture and the design of space. But we're also going to talk about what's inside you, your curiosity and the things you want to know about. And then something we call mindset. It's your attitude. It's what you, when given a situation, it's how you approach it. So it's not just what you know, it's why you even think you want to know.
Right. So, like, how are we going to present this information?
Yeah. So I'm doing a keynote, right? So I would imagine there's going to be an audience and I'll be up front, and I don't know if I'm at a podium or if I'm going to walk. I'll figure that out when I get there. But behind me will be a giant screen, and I'll have a series of slides that will tell stories or spark people's imagination. And then my job over about 45 minutes is to invite them on a journey of questions and ideas. And then by the end, not so much to give the answer, but instead to invite a new set of questions. So that's what we hope to do. And then if we really do our job, there'll be time for people to ask questions, and then we can explore things together.
Okay, how do you think, like, tech-wise, how do you think that learning could be improved?
All right. Okay, so I think a lot about this. I spend a lot of time with technology companies and teachers that are really passionate about technology and students who have just been born with iPads around them. Here's what I believe. I think for the next 5 or 10 years, all of us are mesmerized, like we're excited, and we're also a little bit intimidated by phones and computers and iPads, meaning we want them to be everything, but we also maybe wonder if they're getting in the way. I think 10 years from now, 15 years from now, we're not going to be focused on going to an iPad or finding my phone or going to a computer lab, but instead all of that's going to be just almost blended into everything around us. So your watch, right, is an example. It tells the time, but now we have watches that also connect you to Twitter and also allow you to take video, to watch movies. So imagine if that watch becomes the beginning of a lot of things. So imagine if your shirt, the fabric, was also digital. So imagine your mother called you and you didn't pull out a phone, which stops you from everything else, but you just swiped your jacket and said, Mom, I'm on my way home. And then swiped it back and it's just a jacket again. I think we're going to live in a world, not that's like space technology, but in essence, all of the objects, the iPads, everything, are just going to be in everything. So now we begin to do something more exciting. And that is, what do we want to do now? Not how do we work on a computer, or is an iPad the right thing to use? But once we have everything and it's everywhere, what are the questions we begin to ask? What does it mean to be curious when digital is everywhere? And it's not just for those who can afford it, but now it's available for everybody. So I get curious about that. When we design schools, we have to design for the next 5 or 10 years, which is give everybody access to computers and the Wi-Fi and movies and all this. But we also have to design for a moment in 10 or 20 years or more where we will find that very strange, that we would open up a box called a laptop and type on something called a keyboard and try to figure out what's my code, right? So I'm curious about that. Yeah. Or you can think about, I love that idea. So what if your curiosity sparked something? What if with Google Glasses, right? Right now, just by where you look, the computer is already giving information. So if I own a store that sells shoes, what I get excited about is you walk into a store and wherever you look, all of a sudden on your phone pops up a coupon that allows you to get 10% off the trainers you want. Because just by looking at there, the store connected your interest in those shoes, those trainers, and you have a phone and you're now a fan of that store. So it immediately thinks, how can I encourage you to not just look at those trainers, but to want them, to buy them? So imagine if that just becomes more and more normal, but it's something that we feel comfortable with. But let's say all the technology goes away. So I'll offer one more thing. Let's imagine your batteries all died, your microphone wasn't working, the wireless Wi-Fi went away, and somebody stole all your iPads. I'm not making it terrible on purpose, but let's imagine all went away. And your teacher said, I still want you to be 21st century. So we, all of us, you and me, we all have to figure out what does it mean to be 21st century if all the technology went away, if the electricity was turned off, if there was no battery. So what I get excited about technology is what does it mean to think like a blogger, not just have a blog? What does it mean to edit and to storyboard and to frame and to focus, not just learn how to do that in Photoshop or learn to do that in iMovie? So what does it mean to have that inside you, your attitude, right? Your mindset. Because if the electricity goes down, I still need you and your team to be able to be really creative and come up with great ideas, not just because the iPad works.
Right. Okay, is that all? Do you want to add anything to anything that you've said?
What are you curious about? When you came here, what did you become curious about?
Well, I became curious about the 3D printing in particular because that's like really new.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
Well, it's just amazing that like even if it takes a long time, you can like put in a model, and the model is made.
Sure.
Yeah, because it's just like, and it does it layer by layer.
Right. So I mean, think about that. Like you, at your age, you were born into a world where you really can't remember a day before anybody could make anything they wanted just by hitting print. Now, truthfully, we don't all own those printers, and you haven't built all the things you ever want. But there's almost no yesterday. There was almost no moment where that wasn't possible for you. So what's it going to mean over your life if not only you can have what the stores make or what other people have, but you can imagine something and go, I just want to explore it. I want to build it. What if instead of going to the store to buy a light bulb, instead you could print that light bulb at home, right? What if instead of being hired by a company to make things, you said, I'm going to start making things and then share those ideas with the world, both the thing, but also the code, the software, and I'm going to teach other people how to make it, right? I mean, that's amazing. Like that's the world you live in, right? And it's just starting. So for the rest of your life, all of us will be able to hit print and make something literally come to life. Now think about it as food. What if you could print your food? Well, they can. What if you could print an ear or a heart? They're already beginning to do that in certain ways. What if you could print a house? Not build a house, but print it layer by layer. They already are. So imagine everything can be built as long as you understand the code, so you know how the software works, and then you understand the materials, and you can figure out how to build that by layers. And here's the thing: is building by layers is different than building by pieces. So if I want to build a house by pieces, there are thousands and thousands of years of wisdom that teach me how to build a house by pieces. But there's only a couple of years of curiosity about how to build by layers, right? Yeah. That's incredible. And this is your world. This is like your kids will look at you and go, oh, that's all you had? So that's cool. So 3D printing. Okay. All right. I love it.
So this has been How Wilkes interviewing
Christian Long.
Thanks.
Thanks.